this is developments now coming in from the Supreme Court. This is as far as the hearing on the Manipur video that was on the top court. The Supreme Court has summoned the Manipur DGP. The Chief Justice of India has asked the Manipur DGP to appear on Friday. The Supreme Court has wrapped the Manipur government, saying there was no law and order left in the state. State cops are incapable. Very strong words being used as far as the CGI is concerned. Even yesterday, the Supreme Court had wrapped the Manipur state government, asking why there was a delay as far as the filing of the FIR is concerned, asking the inaction that led to the delay as far as the state authorities were concerned. Ananya Bhatnagar, our legal correspondent, now joining us on the broadcast. Ananya, very strong words coming in and a very crucial development coming in as far as the hearing that was on in the top court, where now we're understanding the Manipur DGP, in fact, has been summoned. Even yesterday, as I was pointing out, the Supreme Court was very clear. They wrapped the Manipur government, asking for inaction, the delay in filing the FIR. What did we hear from the top court today?
Well, definitely. First, the developments are that, the Manipur DGP has been summoned to appear personally before the court on Monday. He will, in fact, now, be assisting the court with regards to the bifurcation of the FIRs, how investigation has to be carried out. But the observations that have come in from the Chief Justice of India today are something that is very, very troublesome. In fact, the Chief Justice of India has gone on to say today that there was for 2 months in the state of Manipur, there was a complete breakdown of the law and order situation. There was no law and order there, and the state machinery has completely failed in to actually protect the people of Manipur. In fact, it was also deliberating as to how can the investigation in these more than 6,000 FIRs that have been registered in this with relation to this violence be investigated, because all the 6,000 FIRs cannot in fact be entrusted to the CBI, because CBI handles only premier cases, and if at all CBI would be given all these 6,000 FIRs, the CBI itself will break down in investigating all of them. So that mechanism is being devised now. Apart from that, what has also been the concern of the court is with regards to the identification of the dead bodies, for which the court has asked the Solicitor General to come back on Monday. And, very, very crucially, the Supreme Court has held that the investigations that have been conducted so far are very, very tardy, slow, and in fact, few or no arrests have been made in these cases. And in fact, people of Manipur have lost their faith, is something that the CGI could hint at. But on Monday, when the Supreme Court again sits back to hear this particular matter, the DGP of Manipur will be present in the court. He will have to appear before, in fact, the Chief Justice of India's court to actually assist the court with regards to the situation there, with regards to how things can be brought back to normal. And in fact, the Supreme Court is also mulling on to actually create committee headed by former judges of the High Court. So all of this would be a very, very important and crucial hearing on Monday, where Supreme Court could be seen figuring out, or somewhere or the other, drawing a mechanism as to how things in Manipur can actually be improved.
Yeah, very strong words, as we pointed out, Ananya, coming in as far as the top court is concerned, and that hearing on Monday is also going to be extremely crucial. I just want to go back to what we heard from the Supreme Court even yesterday, and I want to understand whether there was any development on those lines. Yesterday also we heard from the top court that yes, immediate justice for these victims is needed, but what about a larger mechanism in place to ensure that there is not the kind of inaction that we saw by authorities on the ground? Was there any development on those lines today?
Well, there were certain, important observations that were made by the Chief Justice of India, and I'll take you through all of those observations that were there. In fact, the Chief Justice clearly saying that, there is a complete breakage of the law and order situation, and he also said that it appears that except for 1 or 2 cases, there is no arrest at all. Look at the way investigation is so lethargic. The FIRs registered after 2 months, arrests have not been made, statements not recorded. For 2 months, the situation was not even conducive for recording FIRs. In fact, the court was of the view that, it is so difficult even for the Manipur police to enter certain areas and to make arrests. So, and he goes on to say that, it gives us an impression that from beginning of May till July so far, there was no law and order. There was a complete breakdown of the constitutional machinery in the state. You're right that the police could not make arrest cause. That does not point out to the fact that there is a complete failure and breakdown of the law and orders machinery in the state, is what the Chief Justice of India said. On Monday, when the court comes back, there would be crucial aspects being discussed. Number one, and the foremost and the most important question that would be answered is as to who will be investigating these 6,000 FIRs that are registered, whether the Manipur police would be allowed to do so or not, whether there would be certain kind of a mechanism, there would be a monitored probe or not. All of this would be answered on Monday, whether the Supreme Court would actually be forming a committee. All these questions boil down to Monday when the Supreme Court, the three judges bench headed by the Chief Justice of India, actually comes back, and the DGP is also present along with the Solicitor General and the Attorney General of the country.
Ananya, I'm just going back to some of the details that you were pointing out a short while ago, which is again what the CGI has said, where he said, we may think of forming a committee comprising of former High Court judges, remit the committee rehabilitation measures, supervise the work to ensure that the process pre-investigation is fair. As far as the formation of this committee is concerned, do we have any more direction or details?
Well, these committees have not been formed, but the Supreme Court is mulling upon doing so. It is discussing the options of retired High Court judges. It would be also looking into women, judges to actually come up, because there are cases of, sexual assault. There are cases of crime against women. And that's the reason why, in fact, Supreme Court would also want some woman to actually come into the picture and to actually go on and be a part of this investigation or this committee that would be carrying out and rehabilitating the people of Manipur.
Ananya, I also want to understand in terms of the clear lapses that the CJ and the top court felt that has happened in part of the state government. Could you list those lapses as well? Because as I pointed out, they already pointed out to the fact that there was delay in the first action, which was filing of FIR. So have they listed any terms of lapses that they feel that has already occurred on part of the state authorities?
Well, in fact, definitely. The court has, in its order itself, has recorded that prima facie it appears that the investigations that have been carried out in in these 6,000 FIRs is something that is very, very lethargic. The Supreme Court has also stated that, the FIRs have been filed or very late. In fact, almost 2 months gap was there between the incident and the FIR being reported. And finally, in fact, it has also been stated that not proper arrests are made in this, in the cases like these. And definitely there is a complete breakdown of the law and order situation is what the Supreme Court has been constantly saying since the hearing began today.
Ananya, we'll just request you to stay on with us. We want to bring in our colleague Arunima also, who's joining us on the broadcast. Arunima, a very crucial development that's coming in from the top court, where the DGP of Manipur now in fact has been summoned, and that hearing on Monday is going to be crucial. The Supreme Court has minced no words, saying there was inaction as far as state authorities are concerned. There were delays in filing the first FIR. Is this a significant breakthrough as far as the investigation for Manipur is concerned?
I have been speaking to the Manipur top brass even as the hearing was going on, and they did acknowledge that in the month of May until about mid-June, the situation was exactly what the Supreme Court was reflecting, that there was a complete breakdown of law and order, since the policemen themselves had divided themselves on ethnic lines. In Meitei-dominated areas, there were no Kuki policemen. In Kuki-dominated areas, there were no Meitei policemen. So there was a shortfall of manpower also. But now they are saying in the last 6 weeks or so, the situation is improving. They are in a position to convert the zero FIRs into regular FIRs, and police has started probing. Arrests have been made. Even when they say that, the fact is late last night in Imphal, some buildings were burned down. The Kuki community claims that these buildings belong to them. An FIR has been registered, but no identification of the miscreants, no arrest yet. And the Supreme Court's concern is right. If there are 6,500 plus FIRs, can the police is it possible for the police force to go ahead and probe this?
Arunima, I'll just request you to stay on with us.